Let's Talk Oculus is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to know how to support the show, go to patreon.com/playtestvr. What's up, Oculus nerds? I'm Dan from Playtest VR. Welcome to Let's Talk Oculus, episode 24. I'm joined, as always, by the Halo 2 legend, Samson. How you doing, Samson?
Doing well. Finally finished that first level in Halo 2 Legendary. God, it took forever.
Yeah, tell me about it. It's no joke. But today we're joined by a special guest. We got Lee Chernowitz, community manager and mentor for Tribe XR. Lee, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. 100%.
We'll be talking to Lee about his journey into VR, the learning opportunities available in VR, as well as the app itself. There's a little bit of VR news to talk about, and beware, we probably will go off tangents because we all love VR and we all love talking about it and being passionate about it. But before we get into that, a little housekeeping. Audio listeners, if you want to see the video version, see this cool Tribe shirt that Lee's wearing and this amazing supernatural background I have, head over to the Let's Talk Oculus YouTube channel. And for your video watchers, this episode is on all good podcast platforms, as well as some rubbish ones as well. So head on over there if you want to have one in your commute. Now, if you want to be a part of the show, send your questions in to letstalkoculus@gmail.com. We also have a Discord, which is available for people, everybody, not just patrons as well. All those links will be in the description below. And speaking of Patreon, if you do want to throw us $1 or show some love or buy me a latte, buy Samson a latte, head over to patreon.com/playtestvr for all early access episodes and extra Discord benefits. All right, let's start off with the show. And Lee, let's start off with your journey. Let's get to know you a little bit. Where did your love of VR first evolve?
It actually started pretty early, like actually several years before I would eventually acquire a headset. It just seemed so interesting to me. And I was just listening to many podcasts such as yours, like describing what it was like to be in VR and the games and such, and also how hard it was to set these things up, like, you know, putting nails into your walls and putting sensors everywhere, all this kind of stuff. It was just like sort of this faraway land that I did not have a room to do that in my apartment. It just wasn't going to happen. So I just had a sort of nightly love from afar of VR and read all the books, about it. Came across it like that. I think when the Quest 1 finally came out, it was about time for me to jump in. Nice. So that was really my entry point. Now I have a Quest 1, a Quest 2, and 2 Rift S's here amongst my equipment. So it grew. The passion grew pretty quickly once it became affordable, really.
Yeah. And I guess the without all those wires and such that you were thinking of, right? Of all that setup process with the Quest 1, you could just put on. It was definitely great for people wanting to get into VR, especially the Quest 2, to be honest. But can you remember what your first experience was in VR? Like the first game or experience that you tried?
I can remember my first love, like it was yesterday, was probably like Beat Saber. I mean, that's a pretty generic answer, but it's true in my case. That was just a great experience and just getting your heart pumping. So I think that was one of the first things. Once I actually got the Quest 1 headset, it was just consuming a lot of content, including passive content like YouTube, 360-degree stuff. Anything was sort of at the time amazing to me. So
the Quest 1 was actually my first headset too. And Beat Saber is definitely what kept me coming back to it.
Yeah.
It's funny because what you were saying, Lee, I was kind of the same as you. I've already played the PlayStation VR, but I was kind of the same with you when I didn't have my PlayStation VR anymore and I moved to Vancouver from the UK. I was trying to buy a Quest, but I was like, I'm just waiting for this potential Quest 2, but I was like you, just reading, listening,
Yeah,
consuming lots of content. But by the time
imagining what it might be like,
exactly,
like what is it actually like? I don't know. It sounds great, it sounds very immersive, but I wouldn't know.
That's why like the first. Sorry, I was about to say the first game I put on Quest 2 was Vader Immortal, which was the first game from Quest 1. Okay. Yeah, just because I read so much about it,
I did actually go to a VR bar kind of place where they had all sort of VR headsets and paid quite a premium. It was like a VR World in New York City. And it was, it cost something like, $50-$60 US to just have the access to put on these headsets. So that was for me, it was like that first kind of experience happened. I was like, well, I could do this at home now with the Quest.
Did that place survive COVID? That sounds like a really cool place.
It actually did. Yeah, it did. Nice. Surprisingly.
Nice. It's called what? VR World is what it's called?
VR World, yeah.
VR World. Nice. Very good. I mean, Samson, you're not far from New York City. Maybe you should take a visit next time you go there.
Hey, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, just nearly a 4-hour drive or so.
Yeah.
I really want to get to those Harry Potter experiences actually too.
Harry Potter, do tell more. I don't know what these Harry Potter experiences are.
There's like two Harry Potter World in New York, like VR experiences. One is involving like you're on the broomstick flying around, and I forget what the other one is, but you can like sign up to experience them online, I think, at like Harry Potter World, wherever that is in Manhattan.
Nice.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm all for checking out these VR experiences, but Lee, so for you, you're passionate about VR. How did music and DJing become your what was that background? I see you have a lot of instruments around you, a lot of electronic instruments. Yeah. What is your background in that? Because obviously it all comes together at some stage to form where we are at Tribe. But what is the background in music?
Yeah. So I was always a musician since a young age, since 12, 13 years old, strumming on a guitar, and then I went to school for music and graduated, with no prospects in that field particularly, but in audiovisual types of things, I've worked many years. But music was always just a passion of mine, just sort of like a hobby, at best. So during COVID, when I had no work as an audiovisual technician for events, that's when I really got into VR, and I actually really got into Tribe as a user of Tribe, because I had experience as a DJ previously, but mostly on a freestyle basis, and mouse and keyboard, not with actual physical controllers or anything like that, like a proper DJ. So when I had plenty of time to experiment, that's what I did, and I joined Tribe and learned actually how to DJ with Tribe, use the controllers, the Pioneer and CDJs and the mixer. And just haven't looked back from there, and somehow that actually blossomed into the position I am in now.
Yeah. So describe what your so your position's a community manager, but you're also a mentor. So in terms of mentor, what does that look like? Are you jumping in with the people who use it and just doing some tutorials with them, or how does that look? What does that look like?
Right. Well, I think Tribe at its core is a learning platform. That's what we aim to do, and that's the opportunity of VR. So it's sort of like the prime directive of Tribe was to actually teach people to DJ, which in my case, that's how it happened. That's how I learned. So actually now I learned how to DJ. I now have physical controllers as well that I've moved on to, and heard plenty of stories of our users actually like learning in Tribe and virtual reality, translating that into a real world thing. And that's not uncommon in VR, and obviously like with Oculus and other companies, Microsoft, and doing a lot because they realize the potential of VR as far as a learning and a training tool, in enterprise and on at least on a personal basis, you can actually learn to DJ with Tribe. Like that's the thing. You can learn to be a DJ on this platform. So that was the prime directive. And recently we've expanded that as far as having mentors. We have now 4 mentors within Tribe. We teach multiple up to 3 workshops per day. So within Tribe, basically we can bring people in either into a physical room with us or over our video call feature, and we're able to teach people how to DJ through that. So as a mentor, that's the primary thing. It's like, how can we use the VR, this platform, to teach people how to DJ? Something that people want to know how to do.
I did really enjoy the tutorial. It really felt like I was in the same room as Hoppa, I believe.
Hoppa, yeah. DJ Hoppa, yeah.
And it was really cool. I was just like, he's talking to you from across the the equipment, and then he hops over to your side and he like really helps guide you. I thought that was really well done, and really just felt like I was in a classroom learning how to DJ.
Yep, that's exactly what we're trying to figure out how to do. I think that there's something about having that person in the room with you, or just something. VR actually like unlocks a lot of potential for learning. So that's something we're exploring, and that's what we do.
I was very impressed. I'm not gonna lie to you, Lee. I remember seeing this app, and I've dabbled in DJing back in the past, like more of my early university / end of high school type days, but kind of just drifted away from it, especially because of the expensive decks, and you have to carry that around, right? But I've never learned how to like properly DJ with proper decks, for a long set. I used to just make sets like through the computer, through audio software. Yeah, sitting down. I wouldn't actually use controllers like kind of like what you did before as well. And I always ignored this app, even though I saw 5-star reviews. I was like, I don't understand why this would work in VR. How would you be able to DJ? You got all these little knobs and everything. How would you like control it? I don't think it will work. Holy crap, I was wrong. Holy crap, I was wrong. Like Samson was describing, you start off and you're in the little tutorial, and you have a DJ ahead of you, and then he comes on your side, and you can kind of see his hands. But you can step away and you can see him just looking at you and talking to you as he's doing it.
Right.
But the what struck me was amazing was that actually controlling the physical controls. Like if I'm increasing the BPM on one of the decks, and I'm also reducing the low for the other deck, even though they're on opposite or like far sides from each other, I can still feel through the vibration that I'm actually holding those knobs. And that was kind of what I was worried about in terms of, you're multitasking with 2 different hands. Are you going to get that same physical feeling? And you've kind of done a really good job in terms of replicating that, or to understand that you're actually, pressing the buttons correctly. So
yeah, as much as possible. Yeah, haptic feedback does work pretty well in this case. And one thing is difficult with VR, I think, compared to real life, putting on a critical lens, is just that you don't have peripheral vision like most of the time, which is something in DJing like people have to adjust to, like a professional DJ. We've had a few of them that have used Tribe and are similarly impressed. Obviously, like there's a couple of things they have to adjust to, and one of the VRness, sort of current VR tech things, I think, is peripheral vision, field of view. Because if you're reaching for one thing and you're looking this way, like a lot of DJs either use muscle memory or some sort of peripheral vision to understand what they're having. It sounds like you found a good way through haptic feedback to also have that once you actually grabbing that knob. But yeah, that's one thing that's a slight limitation, I'd say, of VR, but I'd assume in a few years that may not be the case.
Well, I think as the tech and controllers get better, or whatever we have in our hands in future iterations, you look at the haptic feedback on a PS5 controller. I was playing Far Cry 6 the other day, and I was on the horse and I was running, or I was on the horse and riding, shall I say. But we were riding through a dirt patch and I could feel it in my controllers that we were going through a dirt patch. It wasn't like, okay, I can actually feel it like if I was barefoot outside or actually riding a horse, but I can feel the difference when it goes on different materials, different terrain.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's the important thing is like you just start to develop a little muscle memory in terms of how it feels on the decks. And even just now, even with like just standard vibration that the Quest controllers have, they do a really good job. A really good job.
Definitely.
Yeah. Samson, have you done any DJing in the past or anything like that?
No, I have not, and I've got as many rhythm games as I play in VR. I have very little rhythm.
So how did you feel when you came in, like completely? You see these like beautiful Pioneer decks that you probably have no idea. I've probably seen these at bars, but look how many controls there are. Like, how did you feel when you first dived into it?
I mean, pretty intimidated, I guess, but yeah, the tutorial really takes you through each step, and then there's like a secondary tutorial where they've got information bubbles over every single button that you can click on, and they'll give you some like explanation about what it does. So it really helps with that learning curve.
Yeah, I definitely found that the lesson structure for the beginner lessons is it's broken down so well. Like there's a few lessons that all we're doing is adjusting the volume up and down, and that's all it is. But it's good to like break down the barrier of having that many controls. Lee, have you, throughout the time that you've been at Tribe, how long have you been there now?
I think let me look at what the date is now. About 8 months or so.
8 months. Wow. Nice.
Yeah,
nice. And have you done any, has there been any major developments in the learning? Do they constantly revive it or retool it or such, depending on feedback, or what is it like?
Oh, so sorry, we're talking about like learning or the app in general.
The actual like learning tutorials that you have on there.
Yeah, I think one of our main focuses has been on like learning and increasing the amount of workshops, which I really think that everybody should take advantage of that. Yeah. You guys included, because we have multiple per day to try to span across time zones. Some are at 9 a.m. Eastern time, some at 8 p.m. Eastern time. There's a few per day, and you can always join a live DJ who can sort of customize the learning to you and sort of get you going. The tutorials are really great, but there's a lot to DJing. There's a lot conceptually going on. So we hope to have that, in place. I think that's been the big thing. There are some new lessons that are coming out with the Tribe Plus, which is a subscription service that we offer, has a couple additional lessons. And yeah, so I'd say that there's a few more things that are in development, which you guys might be interested in. We're trying to retool our onboarding and add in some what we lovingly call like career mode. I don't know what it'll end up being, but it's some sort of career mode where it's gamified to some degree. So that's something that there's a progression system. Yeah. So it kind of keeps you going, and similar to like rhythm games or something like that, to kind of get people onboarded a little bit quicker and also keep them going and sort of progressing in some way. So it's something that we're like actively working on now. It's an immense undertaking. Yeah. So I'm not sure, and we want to get it right. So that's something that we're looking for as far as learning and progressing. Yeah.
Will it be like fake crowds out there, and as you there'll be?
We can imagine that. We could imagine that. Yeah, like where the crowds maybe they're throwing tomatoes at you or something. If you're missing all your transitions or just at the very least, what I could imagine, I don't know what's going to happen, but I can imagine growing, like starting off in your bedroom and moving to like to a smaller club, to a festival. That would be amazing. This is all speculation, by the way, but this is something that we're looking towards as a sort of next step for sure.
And just for the listeners, the base game is $29.99 USD, and then how much is the monthly subscription for the plus?
That is $4.99 USD
Okay.
per month. It's on a monthly basis.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I like that you've had like a multiplayer aspect to it as well, where you can grab a buddy and you can come into VR and just mess around with the decks. I think that's the beauty of DJing, is that even if you know nothing or you don't know what you're doing on the decks, just experimenting, jumping around with knobs, and it's just kind of fun to do that. Where if you pick up another instrument like a guitar or something, it's a big learning curve to start off. You know, you're playing a couple of notes. I've tried in lockdown and had the same thing. But with DJing, you kind of get like an instant feedback, and you know, it's sometimes it's quite easy to do a nice like flow mix, and you're like, oh, that sounds good, and then you maybe layer it up later on and, you know, experiment more and more. So I think that's definitely a good success factor for it. But I'm honestly I'm very impressed with this app. I'm very impressed.
I'll speak on the multiplayer thing. I think it's to me that was something that drew me to Tribe in the first place, because I've done back-to-back sessions with people in Germany, you know, people in Australia, across the world, and it works like with very low latency, which is a credit to like our dev team. I do not know how they did it. I'm not a dev person, and I cannot imagine how they did that. But they have some magic to sync everything up where it is possible across oceans. Everything sort of works, and you can be in the room virtually with someone from across the world and do those things like you're saying, like you can have 8 people in a room, up to 16, and just maybe turning a knob here and there and collaborating. So that, to me, that's a testament to what Tribe can do and virtual reality in general.
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead. All right. You mentioned some of the developers. Could you tell us more about like the Tribe team, like how big they are, and maybe a little background?
Yeah, sure. Relatively small team. There is 7 of us full time. We have a couple of people on a freelance basis that are also helping with some back end stuff. We're kind of growing our team now, moving into other markets too. It's not strictly Oculus, but there is the. Have you guys heard of the Pico headset?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to be delving into that soon. So it's interesting to have a competitor. You know, it's very hard to compete with Quest. I'm not sure how that will, you know, even manifest, but yeah. So delving into that. So our team is increasing, but for the moment, it's a relatively small team at 7 people or so plus, and mostly out of San Francisco. I'm out of New York City, working pretty much remotely. But yeah, like one of the pride of Tribe is that we iterate quickly and add in things at a pretty quick rate, you know, we'd like to say. And a lot of plans for upcoming things. Just to tease that, if you'd like to talk about it more, I could. But delving into actually music production is something that's like we're on the cusp of right now. I can tell you about a sample pad that we have coming out, and also a sort of can I say it, a 303 kind of clone, like a baseline synthesizer. It's going to be called the Tribe synthesizer. I hope that doesn't get me in trouble for saying that. but yeah, so with, you imagine a baseline synthesizer as a piece of equipment, and you imagine a sampler with a sequencer, of course. So literally you can program your own beats. You can sample from the decks that are live, or bring in your own samples. You're doing music production like inside of Tribe. And I'm so excited about it myself. I know I'm one of the team, but I'm more excited than anybody else to like, I haven't touched the prototypes yet, but I'm about to, and I'm so psyched about it.
No, this sounds like, I was about to say music to my ears, but that's a terrible pun.
That's good. I like it. No, I might use that.
But it just sounds sick. Like I've always, like for me personally, I've always been someone who's super interested in music and all the music production side of things and DJing. But one of the biggest barriers for me was just costs. Like some of these, well, not some of these, a lot of these machines, the sampler machines, for example, they're all in the hundreds of dollars, and obviously can
even
go into
for the
1,000.
simplest one. Yeah.
Even
yeah.
for the
Well,
simplest ones.
This one would be, the related to, maybe a Pioneer DJS 1000, which, costs maybe $3,000 or so.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the decks alone, the decks that you have in the DJ right now with the mixer, they're like $3,000 alone, I mean, the mixer alone
a piece,
is so expensive. But
approximately.
it's funny, like, okay, these are expensive equipment, but you've got them mapped out so well in there that when I guess you probably got quite a few success stories that people have learned how to DJ. I mean, you probably say that yourself, and then you can translate those skills. You can literally go to a pair of decks that you find in a club, which are probably going to be these anyway, and you know how to navigate it, you know how to work it, which is quite phenomenal, because considering you never actually own one or never actually physically touched one before. But because of VR, you can.
Yep, I mean that's true, and vice versa. Like, just to give an example of that, we were actually attended DJ Expo in Atlantic City this year. We had a booth, which was so interesting, because not only from Tribe perspective, from a VR perspective, because these were like old, weathered, like battle hardened mobile DJs who are used to doing weddings and etc. Events of all kinds, and most of them did not know like that VR even existed at all, like let alone like Tribe or anything. So we had actually 2 stations set up, and we were demoing Tribe with 2 headsets, and that was completely interesting. I think I expected a worse, just let's say less than perfect response from that. Like they're notoriously cynical sort of crowd, like especially of things that they may view as competing, which a lot of industries it's the same way. They could look with the skeptical eye on VR and say this is actually cutting into our business rather than utilizing it. However, most people were very interested in it, and interested in how maybe they could use it in their business, either as like maybe let's say like a booth kind of thing at an event with VR. I think we've seen that around, just even with gaming and all that. But yeah, like from DJs, like seeing it as a method to practice, even if it wasn't going to be their main medium, they could very easily in a hotel room in Ibiza, like be able to throw on the Quest 2 and practice their set ahead of time. So to me, that speaks to what Tribe can do, and also again what VR can do, the potential of VR, and we're still, in my opinion, on the cusp of that. We're still not quite there as far as what it can do. And obviously I know that you guys talk about that, about like it's omnipresent. Our idea of what mainstream is, or going mainstream with VR, and it hasn't quite hit yet. We are all waiting for it to happen, but I believe that it can be a game changer.
It's around the corner.
So it seems like it always has, like for the past couple of years. Just from a personal note, I've been following it since I've been following it, even before having it. It's always on the cusp. I still believe it is. So.
I know people have impartial feelings about Facebook, or Meta, shall I say now. But I generally feel like their contribution, because of how big they are and how they can subsidize these headsets and make it more accessible to people, who don't have $1,000 PCs or anything, is massive.
The Quest 2 has been huge. It's been big for us, and for everybody as far as pushing to mainstream. So we'll see what this next iteration of Meta and the greater kind of concept of that will do. But if it has any impact that's similar to what Quest did as far as making it mainstream, I would expect that it would.
And Tribe is on Steam as well, right?
It's on Steam as well. Yes, it was originally a PC only, Steam, and then Vive, and then to Oculus, and then moved to Quest, like about a year plus ago, a year and a half ago. Moved to actually like ported to Quest.
On that, did you have to is there like some features that you can only use on the PC version or not really?
Well, there were previously, and again, this is a testament to the dev team. I don't know how they did it, and I'm surprised that they were able to do it. The gap is actually closed a lot. Before, previously, there were things that definitely were not available to Quest users, including cameras and separate audio sources and Twitch chat and a couple of other things. It's narrowed because we've added in this video call feature, and the devs have somehow, by some sort of literally unreal magic, have optimized enough that we can have two cameras inside of Tribe on a Quest at the same time. So now people using the video call on a Quest can have a separate video feed. So if you can understand this, they're seeing the first person view. So that's one camera as far as like development or like, processing cycles. We have the first person view that has to be rendered. And then now we also have the second view, which is a camera, like a third person camera, either front view or selfie cam or something like that is also being rendered at the same time. And they've been able to do it without dropping too many frames and keeping 72 frames per second, been able to do that. So now someone that's on a Quest 2 can now call standalone without a PC, can actually use the video call, stream to live.tribexr.com, and with the third person camera without the queue audio, meaning they can have their own separate queue, like preview audio, not send it out to the world. And people can actually join them in the room, either in VR or with a webcam, like as we're doing now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. Because I've had workshops that I do in the video call, and I have like 13 people around me. So I have 13 images of people sort of surrounding me, boiler room style, that I'm talking to. Same thing with a live performance. You can have all these people sort of watching you, commenting, or you see their faces. So yeah, by that amazing engineering feat, we can now offer that for Quest. Even Quest 1 can run that. Wow. So it's quite incredible.
Well, the thing is that unlocks so much possibility in the app, because what started as just a learn to DJ, I say just, that's still like big enough, right? Now, right, because you have that extra third person camera, or the extra second camera, should I just say, that now opens it up to not just be a learn, but also a platform for you actually to do performances, to actually take your practice and actually put it out into the virtual world, should we say, or the real world in a way in VR. So it expands what you can do a lot in this app.
Exactly. We've had people stream out to Twitch there. They do like an OBS capture of that window. So to me, it's quite incredible that someone with just a Quest 2 can it's a bit of a workaround at the moment. We hope to streamline that, and also stream into Metaverse of all types, alt space, Sansar, anything, VR chat. But at the moment, it's amazing to me that someone can throw on their headset wherever they are, perform to their friends and family, and stream live, and also restream to Twitch. So it's a big development, and that was used to be the big thing about having a PC. Really, up until a couple months ago when that was released, you needed a PC to even approach anything like that.
Well, you're making DJing more accessible to everybody too. Now they just need a headset, and that's it. They need this $300 headset, and then they can, and obviously pay for the app, but there's relative compared to like DJ decks. A laptop, speakers, a good quality headphones. I mean, probably still necessary anyway. But one of the cool features in Tribe that I saw was the fact that you can hear the cue before it goes out. Because I was really intrigued to see how that would work. Right, it's pretty remarkable. Without even like headphones, you just put your controller to your side. And we
call it the virtual headphones. That's what we call it. So it's like you use the button to click near your ear. Simulates a DJ like taking, I don't have headphones
it's such a good idea.
Headphones up to their ear, they can hear the preview. And again, from a Quest, you can stream out now, and no one will hear what you're previewing.
Yeah.
So that keeps you a step ahead as a DJ.
Definitely, it's pretty awesome. And well, we got DJing with Tribe. What do you think that we could apply this learning technique to other apps? Like, I know you mentioned music production for Tribe as well, but do you think other instruments or other things in the music genre could benefit from Quest? Because I know something like potentially a guitar might be difficult, you know.
Yeah.
But what else do you think that could be implemented?
Well, so the first thing is like synthesizers and such things.
Yeah.
Obviously Tribe is going in that direction, as I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But I have some other apps. There's one, I don't think they're out because it's still experimental. I don't think they're out for Quest yet. So someone with an PC VR like Oculus like setup can try Steam is Synth Space and Synth VR are two ones that are like that, which are incredible because they're modular synth based things, which are notoriously expensive, even more expensive than some DJ decks or whatever. But especially if you have a lot of them. In this case, you have unlimited rack space, so you're putting all these pieces of a synthesizer together, and you have unlimited space around you to do such a thing. So to me, that's incredible. As someone could not afford to get into that hobby, but would love to. So that's the thing I've already experienced. I would love to see that hit Quest. I think it's like literally just people porting to Quest. There's a delay from like when people are experimenting. They're usually on PC VR, and then they get the money to actually port to Quest, and that should be a next step. And I hope that'll happen soon with standalone Quest. The other thing is some of these AR things actually that are upcoming.
I was about to bring that actually. That was my next question.
So yeah, that I mean that's the natural thing. So obviously we can something like Tribe, we're simulating seeing the entire deck and being able to do that. But if we can do something with AR, there's a possibility for us to do this as well. But with anything, I've seen some demos of someone. I saw a demo just the other day of someone playing piano with a sort of piano roll, very Dance Revolution kind of like Beat Highway coming down towards the piano. And we've seen this in other like 2D apps, but it's somehow they're seeing it actually come down in that space towards the keys that they're playing. And having to pass through kind of makes those two worlds come together. So I assume with even playing guitar, or any instrument, even a very real world one, whether it's a gong or something,
anything.
Play gong now, get 3,000 points. So that could happen too. So I see a lot of learning happening in the VR space and the AR space and hybrid.
Yeah, I think as soon as AR becomes more accessible, I think someone tweeted maybe a few months ago. I don't know who it was. It wasn't from me, but the quote was, your next VR headset is also going to be your best AR headset as well. Like it's going to be a hybrid of the two. We're nowhere near what we had in the Facebook Connect last week, or was it last week now? Yeah, and what we had there was like futuristic hologram Star Wars style, glasses, glasses that you're wearing, the like AR glasses. They're too thin. It's not going to happen for a long time, right? We're talking years.
Or decade. It
or
could
decades.
Be. I don't know.
Or decades. But your next VR headset could be the one. And I'm interested in an instrument like guitar, which is one of my probably favorite instruments. Like, could you stand in front of a mirror and use the AR to you kind of looking in the mirror with your VR headset, but then you can see the strings better and
or imagine I can imagine holding a guitar and then seeing the frets light up, right? As long as it's sort of tilted towards you, you can sort of see that.
Yeah.
Theoretically, AR VR experience would be able to do that very easily.
Yeah. Mix it into.
Yeah, once they improve those black and white cameras.
Yeah, right now it's not, but rumors are that they're working on
the
that.
color.
Yeah. I think I think what Project Cambria that they kind of announced for next year, I don't think that will have black and white cameras. I think that AR is going to be quite. They have to compete with people like Apple, who are probably going to come into the space real soon.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
we'll see. Because I think whatever Apple do are going to be real good. It's going to be expensive, but I think they'll come in at the time when they'll probably reinvent the wheel of how it should be. But we'll see on that. But it's very exciting. It's very exciting, to be honest. Samson, if there was an instrument you wanted, what would you have as a learning app?
Oh god. So my first instrument that I played in like middle school was tenor saxophone.
Nice.
But I guess if I were to like want to learn an instrument, it would probably be the piano. I mean, I don't really have a piano, but like I feel like it'd be cool to like one of my cousins is like really good at the piano, and we were like walking around Boston, and there's like a public piano, and he just like sits down and can just start playing.
Yeah,
like that's pretty cool. It's like there's a lot of pianos out there, and to just be able to like just sit down and be like, all right, I'm gonna play some, Beethoven or something. Like, I mean, it's just so cool.
Yeah, and you with AR and or VR, you can imagine this, that you could do that. I don't know about the technology here, if it's how it's going to go, but if there were some sort of mainstream haptic feedback gloves.
Mm-hmm.
You could actually learn to play piano in VR, I believe.
Right.
It would be awesome in Tribe as well. Like, that's the thing people do as a very common question. Can we do hand tracking in Tribe? And yeah, you can, but it's not the best experience because you don't have haptic feedback. You don't feel like you're grabbing a knob and turning it. Mm-hmm. So it's like there's a disconnect there that's happening. You don't get any feedback from that. You don't get the normal buzz or some sort of thing with that. And also we have all other things, like we have to open menus or do certain button presses that happen in Tribe. So it's a very difficult prospect with the technology now. Yeah. But I could imagine in a couple of years, especially if there's like some sort of gloves or haptic feedback device that you could actually feel in your fingers. For Tribe, that would be an obvious use, and then for piano, that would be an obvious use. And I wouldn't be surprised if you had those gloves on and you practiced every day, that you could sit down at that public piano and rock out. Too. Like, I would not be surprised about that.
Yeah, the haptic feedback is very important, and like however they figure out how to figure out hand tracking with haptic feedback, that'll be like huge. Just
well, Samson, you've been playing unplugged. What does that feel like when you're obviously the hand tracking is pretty good as you said before, but does it feel like a little bit of a disconnect because you haven't got because you haven't got haptic feedback, or does it really matter?
I'll say the strumming feels a little weird because like sometimes I'll just like be doing this back and forth, like regardless of like where I'm supposed to be doing it.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I think I kept missing the strum because like I was just be like my hand wouldn't be near it. Yeah. I was so focused on like where to put these fingers. And so yeah, that I think that something like Unplugged could definitely do with some haptic feedback as well.
I think at the same
you would just feel the
strum.
You would feel the strum, and if you missed it, you wouldn't, and your brain would understand that I have to be here
where
at this time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you would adjust like without thinking about it. Just exactly. That's the way our brains are wired. So
it'd be cool if the like haptic gloves would have some sort of mechanism in the fingertips, so you actually develop like guitar fingers. you like
start developing calluses.
Yeah. You're like, oh yeah, my fingers started hurting. You didn't even own a guitar. How did that happen? I was just doing like
it's so realistic.
Exactly. Maybe one day,
I did also appreciate that you can move the DJ deck up and down. So like if you want to play seated, you can play seated. If you want to stand, you can stand. There's actually, I started a new job and there's about like an hour lunch break that's like built into my route. And, but I'm still basically like in my car So I'm thinking like I could totally just practice for like a half hour in the back seat of my car, like sitting there. Because you don't need the internet, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I'm excited to
Actually,
try that out.
I have a funny anecdote about that. Is that what I teach workshops every day. I'm one of the mentors. So every 2 p.m. Eastern time, you'll find me in Tribe. If you guys want a quick lesson or just have any questions, I'm there every day. So one of my participants, I believe he lives in, I can't remember if it's New Zealand or Australia. It's one of the two. And he is an Uber driver, like Uber Eats driver as a profession.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes to my workshop every day almost, and he's in his car. And oftentimes he finds Wi-Fi, like either through his hotspot or he's parked like at a Starbucks or outside of a Starbucks, and he does my workshops. And then I hear the like Uber Eats like bell go off, and he's like, oh, I gotta go, I gotta do a delivery. And then he'll come back 15 minutes later or whatever. He's in there, and he's like, well, I can't, it's hard for me to reach this other deck because of my dashboard's here. But I just think it's amazing. Like, I think Samson, you might have been like kidding a little bit, but people actually, I've seen people do that, like literally in their car with a Quest. And in this case, he was on the internet learning from a live tutor. That's incredible. Like, if you step back and think about it, we're kind of maybe like, as VR enthusiasts, like used to this kind of thing, but it is kind of, it's quite incredible, like from across the world as well. Like, let's not forget that.
It's phenomenal. I mean, I even with the background on my video was supernatural, it's still amazing to me where I could just be in a room and I put it on and I'm in a completely different place. I'm on top of a volcano. I'm in Nicaragua. I'm in this beautiful place doing a workout, and it's just, it's that's the special part about VR, is why all three of us kind of fell in love with VR. You put it on, you're gone. You're in a complete different world. And the beauty of Quest, because you can literally take it anywhere, and because this is offline as well, you can literally be in the back. You can be on an airplane and you can start DJing. Maybe the person next to you might not be happy as you're like scratching on the side.
Knocking over their drinks and whatnot.
Yeah, it's like, hey, shush, I'm just practicing a set before I land and actually perform the set in live, But
I have a question. Speaking of that, this is again tangents. You guys like tangents, right?
Yeah.
I've got one for you. Have you had any injuries to yourself, loved ones, or products based on VR, being in VR?
Personally, me, no, I've not had an injury. I kind of like stretched out my traps and my lower back in the supernatural workout as I started the hard mode, and I've literally been like dripping with sweat. So I almost pulled my a back or something, and I almost broke a controller once I played Facial Fears 2 and a spider jumped at me, and I threw it's on YouTube. I threw the controller across the room and screamed like a little baby. To take my headset off. So I didn't break the thing though, so it was okay. The controller was fine. So I've had close calls, but no.
Samson?
I'd say every time I play Thrill the Fight, I'm like sore for a few days, and I like don't go back to it, and then the next time I go back to it, I get sore again, and I'm just like, if I just played more consistently, I'd build up like the shoulder strength, but I'm always like beat the next day. I'm like, I can't move.
It's real. It's real.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then in my last apartment playing Gorn, I broke a window shade.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very close to hitting the window, but I felt the shade and I was like, whoa, and then the shade just was destroyed. But that's about it. No real like serious injuries, but sometimes playing synth riders, if I don't like stretch beforehand, like Dan said, like I'll feel like, oh,
always stretch.
That was a tweak. Yeah.
I have a lot of people in my workshops that do. I hear them. I hear like, ow. You're like, ow. Like I hear that occasionally. No serious injuries usually. For me, I've hit many a desk and or monitor. The only casualty was a keyboard that I knocked some liquid into.
Like a musical a computer keyboard?
No,
or
no.
one of these?
Luckily, a regular computer
I'm gonna
keyboard.
say, I was like,
Not one of these. No,
Oh.
just a regular computer keyboard, and it just did not work after that. So yeah.
It's all right. We'd all do things like that in VR, but some of it's funny as long as we don't hurt ourselves and ruin our beautiful keyboards, like actual musical keyboards.
One thing I would like to add as a semi developer or like a creator of VR games is it's insane how many hours I spend in VR, and also VR at my desk, like right here as I am here, like doing play testing, et cetera, because I'm not standing up and sitting down. I'm like literally taking notes as I'm, finding bugs, et cetera. So it's kind of crazy how much I'm actually sitting at my desk, or like headset on and off, constantly, and typing. And then, so that's a whole different kind of world there. And that's kind of weird.
I am curious, what head strap do you use?
I have, I have the Rift S. Like I said, I have two Rift S's, which I'm glad about. I think I got the Rift S as it was going out. Like I literally, like, there was like limited left. Obviously it got was obsolete. It was not sold anymore. And so like I cannot find it in any stores. Maybe like one local store had like one left or something like that. So I was able to procure it because I love the Rift S.
I've heard that one's very comfortable.
Oh, it's super comfortable. Yeah, it's no comparison to Quest 2 like stock. Right? Yeah. It's great. I love it. And so I have two of them now. So I have one as a backup, just basically. Yeah, and so that's what I'm doing. And I've heard many complaints about the stock Quest 2 head strap. So
it was the first thing I got rid of.
Yeah. I did see one that was interesting. I don't remember the name of it. Someone was sending that you could actually sort of flip it up as well. You could kind of flip it up.
I think I know exactly which one you mean.
I use the boba.
Yeah,
like,
that's the one. That's the one, actually. How do you like that? Yeah,
I love it. This is my go-to, and I got my VR power little battery in the.
Oh my! Back. You got quite the rig there. That's nice.
Yeah, and
if I ever have to do a Quest, I'm doing exactly what you're doing right now.
Yeah, they just released the boba just released a new sort of Halo style strap where you can like replace the battery. Like it comes with the battery on the back, and you can like buy two of them, so you can just keep flipping them out.
Yeah, magnetically as well.
It looks a bit more comfortable too. Yeah.
I saw that just before we jumped on the podcast too, and I realized that they follow me, so I kind of gave them a nudge, like, "Hey, it looks pretty nice."
Do you need some reviews? Yeah,
you need a play test.
I watched, I think, Rendered Reality do a video on it. Yeah,
I think they need a play test.
They need a playlist test. It looks nice though. I like the fact that you can magnetically switch out the battery packs, which is super convenient. And yeah, it just looks way more comfortable than any other strap. I don't know why the Elite strap isn't the same strap as the Rift S. I don't know why, because that Rift S with the Halo strap looks pretty flawless to me, in terms of comfortability. And like the PSVR had the same kind of strap, and that was really comfortable. So I don't know why they changed it to something that keeps snapping. Are you doing like a little ASMR right now?
Yes. I'm in love with this thing. That's all I can say.
I'm sure that Lee does that often. Like as he's going to bed, he might just get someone like, "Hey, come sit next to me while just do that as I fall asleep."
Crank my Rift S.
Definitely. Lee, thoughts on the wave Meta is going towards now? Because we had the Facebook Connect last week, and it was all about the Metaverse, right? What are your like initial kind of thoughts on that branding? Because it looks like Facebook or Meta now are going away from being predominantly VR gaming, and they are going to more of a social / business / potentially learning as well option, with gaming being potentially a second or just a byproduct from it. What's your like initial thoughts, and what do you see like opportunities in the future for it?
I actually see a lot of opportunities for gaming. I think I don't see them as going away from gaming. I think they're actually like incorporating it like properly, rather than it just being this byproduct, which is Oculus. So they're sort of bringing Oculus into the fold, and you know, not using the term Oculus anymore. It's so that's the gaming. And there was, if you watch Facebook Connect, there was a lot of time spent on the gaming portion. So I think they know how important that is. That's the gateway drug.
Yeah.
You know, for me, that's how it was always a gamer as well. I forgot to mention that.
Well, that's why San Andreas got announced, right? That's like another gateway game, just like Resident Evil is this year. And I love it, but a lot of people have bought the Quest because of that game, and a lot of people will buy it again when San Andreas comes out.
Yeah, yeah, and then Skyrim will come out again, you know, for in VR for Quest maybe. But yeah, I could actually see that that's not
Skyrim's on the Amazon Echo. I said this to Samson yesterday. I was like, I played Skyrim on the Echo when I first got one of those Echoes back in the day.
Yeah, you're gonna be able to play it on your fridge pretty soon. Like, yeah, you know, wherever you are. But yeah, so I mean, I guess my thoughts in general is that it's a good opportunity, and it's good for VR and VR gaming as well, like rising tide lifts all boats kind of thing, because they're just investing so much money. Did you guys see the Carmack portion of that?
I did see a little bit, yeah. I didn't see the whole 2 hours.
That's always Carmack talk is always great.
Yeah.
But he kind of brought it. He did bring it down to earth a little bit, like, which is interesting. Only Carmack can do that. Literally after in his own company's thing, he's like, yeah, this Metaverse stuff, I have some questions about.
He's so fascinating. He's so like the opposite of everyone else. Like that whole Connect was very robotic. Everyone's hyping up, very corporate, right? And then Carmack's
and futuristic, right? Like so super like aspirational, let's say, right?
And Carmack's just sitting there with his 3 monitors behind him at his desk.
I mean, he's like one of the original, you know, he's one of the only original holdovers, right? From like,
yeah, from the Palmer Luckey days and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, he was there originally, and you just can't say no to him. Like he knows what he's talking about. I thought it was very enlightening and right. Like his just to get into it a little bit, like his thing is product is king. Like you can have this idea and engineer these worlds, but if no one goes to it, what's the point? Like you have to have a thing that people are using, and I think his big point was like a phone. Like we all have our phones and we use it for everything, and we barely think about it. But with VR, it's this whole thing. It's this whole dance that we do. We put on the headset. It takes a while, and then we put it on. Like it's not at that level. So he's like bringing it down to earth a little bit. Like we have a long way to go to get to where the thing that Zuckerberg was proposing, this future, which may come to pass, and through Facebook, but who knows? In the meantime, it's good because this is billions of dollars pouring into creators and to people thinking about that. Will it work out for Facebook? I don't know. I don't know if it will or not. I'm more invested in VR as a whole, so I think it's positive development.
Yeah, I think I mean, in terms of the name change to Meta, I think it's a smart move because of how negative the Facebook brand is kind of perceived.
It's not unrelated. You're right. You are 100% correct about that.
I mean, I feel like that's probably 80% or 90% of why the change happened, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think, you know, the Facebook is something that Zuckerberg built and is like really proud of, and I think he'd want to keep that name, but because of all the bad rap and all the court cases and continuing court cases, it's good to separate the two. And I think in the next 5 years people will forget that Meta is Facebook. You know, people will just completely forget about it. Probably not us, but the newer generation and such, and it's not going to really be as a concern. So unless they have more legal issues, but I think it's a smart move on their point. But yeah, I think it's hard one though, because with the connectors, like because it was so futuristic and things that will happen in maybe decades, it's hard to get too excited. You know.
Yeah.
So
that's correct.
It's hard to get too excited, and yeah, we got to see the smaller what's happening in 2022, and we didn't really get that. But you're right. That's where Carmack kind of comes in, steadies the ship a little bit for us. people making crazy predictions for conferences, you know.
Well, as an Oculus podcast, I mean, it's pretty interesting that the first thing he talked about before the metaverse was Oculus Go.
Yeah.
He spent 15 minutes on Oculus Go before he went into anything else.
Yeah.
So that to me is super interesting. And again, for anybody who doesn't know, Oculus Go is the previous sort of consumer iteration of the Quest, not primarily not gaming or very casual gaming, and like almost like a cell phone, stereoscopic 3D, and it's outdated, obsolete, and Carmack was just basically spearheading an effort to make those devices somewhat useful, or at least allow them to be used.
Yeah, then now.
What do you guys think about that?
Well, they're completely open source right now with what you can put on the go, and I think it's great. I think anything open source is fantastic for developers, because I know I've spoke to a lot of developers, especially in the in spatial, is it spatial ape? Yeah, spatial ape and such, and they're wacky, nerdy people who like to tinker with things and break things and such, and something like that's like a toy to them that they can mess around with and potentially bring products like that into the Quest system. So yeah, nothing but positive, to be honest, from my end. Yeah,
it seems pretty cool. I don't own one, nor do I don't even think I know anybody who does own one, but yeah, just to keep its utility, it seems. Honestly, I hope they do the same thing, like as they keep aging out headsets, you know, like open them up, keep them you know, semi-relevant to some people.
Yeah,
even use them. Imagine using them just like donating to an educational institution or something.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer to me, like donating them to like a museum or something, to have a very basic VR experience there. Like, why not?
Yeah, I can see a Go coming back in the future, just me like a mini version of the Quest, kind of say, like there'd be a Quest 1, you know, but miniature died because of all the text shrunk down, and it'll still be able to run something like Tribe, Supernatural, you know, all these kind of learning apps quite well. Maybe it doesn't have all the features that Tribe has, you know, like maybe it doesn't have the multiplayer, maybe it doesn't have the ability to live stream, but just the ability to learn is probably enough, you know. I can see something like that happening, unless that's what, you know, what the HTC Flow kind of is, what they're trying to get at, you know, that kind of market. You know, the thing is,
I could see
subsidized.
I could see, like, especially because we are trying to break into the educational market, obviously, like, so I mean, it's an educational tool, but we're trying to figure out the nuts and bolts of how you make this a regular sort of teaching tool, semi IRL, right, where you distribute this to students. So there are, I can't speak to them right now, but there are a couple of things in the works of actual real world schools. DJ schools are interested in using this. So imagine if you could have that on a lightweight system that just runs this and just does that for $100 or $200 or something like that for these schools. It's you know, it would be a no-brainer. really
monitors.
I mean the Quest, the affordability of the Quest 2 right now is strong, and so it makes it's possible without that, but it would, like I'm saying, it's going to no-brainer territory if it's like $100 to buy that, you know, and to buy that for all of your students or something.
Or even at $300, to be fair, like even at $300, it seems like
correct.
Pretty to people who don't really know VR, Oculus Quest at $300, and maybe if you throw in an Elite strap, so we get $350 or whatever, is quite an expensive purchase. Like it's close to, well, it's not a PS5, but it was a PS4 price and such, right? It's very similar to that. But that's, most people are thinking just in a gaming sense, right? Once you unlock the possibilities of, this could also be your fitness machine. This could be, you ever want to learn DJ or piano or whatever, this could also be that. This also could be your movie theater. You start to bring that, it adds more and more value to this device, right? And all these software updates and these new apps, they're not going to increase the price of the Quest. They're just going to make it more valuable, you know, at that price point. So it's very exciting. And if we circle back to them changing to meta and looking like they're going to a direction of the business side, I think you're right. I don't think they're gonna skip out the gaming part as well. I think they want it all. They want the whole thing.
They want it all, yeah. Which is, I gotta say, hopefully no one gets mad at me, but like, I don't like that they use the term metaverse. Like now it's like soiled, like in a sense. Nothing against Facebook particularly, but it's just metaverse used to refer to anything that was in this realm, especially with multiple players, alt space, Sansar, VR chat, Roblox, anything like where you could do multiple things, experience it in different ways was a metaverse. Now Facebook owns the metaverse. That's that term.
It's like calling your company internet or something like that.
It literally is.
I like that.
I don't even know how they did it to get meta as one of the. I was like, but it's true.
So it's that's their intention, and it's just, to me, it's a smart play. Well, whether it works or not, because they now, okay, you own it. Now do the thing. You have billions of dollars, but you have to do it. You could have to convince everybody, the normies, as it were, to strap something to their head. They're not going to be putting on glasses. They're going to be putting something up against their head, and they're going to be their work might be forcing them to do it.
It's funny. I also, just like Samson, started a new job, and mine's work from home, so I've been on Slack quite a lot, and there's a gaming channel on there. So went on there, introduced myself, say I do a podcast, blah blah blah. I got a lot of hate for VR. Like a lot of people were like, "No, this is not going to work. This is, the metaverse isn't going to happen." I find it hard to believe. Why would you replace your monitors with the headsets? And I had some heated discussions, and I was only in the job for 2 days, and I was like, what's happening here? I need to make friends with these people. But I think people are looking at it wrong. A lot of people are looking at VR as something to replace, but I think it's just something that can just add on to your workflow. It's something that's going to be, it's like an Apple Watch or a smartwatch in a way right now, where you don't need it, but if you have it, it adds to your lifestyle. It does help with a lot of things. It's not necessary, but it's a quality of life thing.
Yep, that's what I was saying with DJ Expo with those DJs. Same thing. Yeah, and most of them didn't. Most of them were sort of converted or ready to see it, and surprisingly, there were a couple of people that heard some comments from, like, and it seemed like insecurity to me, where it's not. It's totally, we're not trying to have DJs, in VR necessarily on stage, which we did do actually. You'd be interested to know. We did with that. We had two DJs on the main stage in VR playing Tribe. Cool. And cool. I had to actually direct people to like the screens, because they didn't understand. They were looking at the guy with the headset, and they were just kind of staring. I was like, so the second day I was like, you can see what he's seeing. And it was switched from his first person view to the third person view during the set, but he was on stage, and it was kind of cool. There was like smoke effects, lights, and all that stuff. And he was on stage in on a Rift with in headset, playing Tribe XR over the big sound system on the main stage. And it was pretty good. And I'll send you some pictures, but the reaction was pretty good. There was a crowd there. It wasn't all skeptical people, like, with their, hands crossed. People were actually pretty interested in it, I have to say.
So it sounds like to me, in the next 10 years, all these DJs are going to be exactly like Deadmau5 and Marshmello, where they're all going to be wearing something, but it'll be like custom. And they won't have
a VR headset inside. Yeah,
exactly.
I've gone to a few VR chat clubs with Gina introduced me to Club Orion and Aviance. And it's just been very cool to see like DJs just like going through their sets, and everybody's in their VR chat outfit, so to say, avatars, if you will.
Well, that's one of the advantages. That's one of the advantages of VR. Let's not forget, like, we have to figure out, this is the hard question of product. Like I think Carmack was talking about, like, VR is cool. It's a novelty to some degree, though. Like, and that's why people unfortunately put their headsets in the closet after using it. It can be a novelty. We know, as enthusiasts, we know what it can do, and that it has so much value in this way, but it's not quite there yet. But yeah, it's about what actually is the value of being in a headset. And some of those things, like you mentioned, Samson, like that you can be anybody, you can have an avatar, you can do these different things that you cannot do in real life. So it is so that's one of the things that our tribe is, I wouldn't say struggling with, but moving towards is our strengths as VR, not just like this is replacing a DJ or something like. It's more like, no, what can we do with this realm that is different, including like social things, including having a persona or something like that. So I think for every VR developer should be like sort of thinking about that.
Honestly, I kind of prefer it because like I don't have to deal with driving to the, you know, wherever I'm going. I'm not surrounded by like drunk and or drugged up people like bumping into me or like doing all that. I can be, you know, comfortable in my own space. I don't have to worry about getting home drunk or anything. I can be whatever avatar I want to be. I can change throughout the night if I want to. And like, I mean, I'm like a terrible dancer, but in VR, like who cares? Like, I don't even have full body tracking, so it doesn't matter really.
Exactly.
That's the problem with me. I do like to dance, so I'm waiting for full body tracking. Then I'll be in. I don't want to be dancing like Samson like this, you know. I actually got moves.
You got to get the full body tracking there in VR chat.
But I can definitely like for me. I don't know if I prefer it, but I definitely can see a market for it and see. You know, like I said, it's something additional. It's not something to just replace me going to a club and spending hundreds of dollars to get drunk and fall around. But it's an addition where maybe I want a mellow night. Like this weekend, after last weekend's Halloween antics, this weekend I'm just taking a chilled one. We're going to just stay at home, no drinking, just relax, you know. And if I could still go and meet up with people in like a club type setting and go for a dance and such, that'd be cool. But I just do it in my comfort of my home, you know, in my pajamas.
Exactly. I think that's the point. It's not necessarily replacing. It can replace if you like it to. Or if you prefer it, it can totally do that. But it's not.
Compliments.
It complements that exactly. I mean, that's sort of how I got into this as well. Like around the time I was doing getting into Tribe personally. I was also going into like alt space clubs, and this was like in the height of the pandemic and all this stuff. So it wasn't happening anyway. No clubs were open. So, and I was talking to people with spatial audio and just like, you know, walking by people, hearing some sort of conversation in my right ear as I'm walking by them, and it was like this sort of moment of like, damn, this feels like I'm in a club and I can chat with people around the world if I'd like to. And without inhibition too, you know, it's like sort of, you know, freeing in a way.
But here's a question, because this is something that I think a lot of us, especially us who are doing content creation, kind of want to ask. You as a community manager, how are you finding kind of marketing this app, this Tribe app to people? Because what I realize is that VR, the best way to do it is to actually put them in VR, right? So they actually can experience and see how it feels. Because if you've not been in VR, like I could watch a video from Gamertag or whatever and still be engaged and understand, because I already know how it feels to be in VR, right? But someone who's not been in VR watching something like that probably doesn't give them much value or much incentive to buy a Quest. Like, have you found that as some sort of issue? Like, obviously you went to the conference the other day. You got to show off to people who probably be non-believers and such. But have you ever had like a big problem, or have seen the problem of like trying to market this to people who are not sure, but you can't actually physically show them the tech, right?
I think it's inherent. It's inherent in it. You know, I don't know how much, you know, inroads we made like at DJ Expo as far as like converting people. I think it was just to open people's minds a little bit and to deepen connections and a couple other things as far as like converting people to like to buy a Quest right away and buy Tribe. Like I don't know if that happened, or if it did, it was on small numbers. It wasn't really about that. And for our marketing, whatever resources that we have are pretty much dedicated towards the VR enthusiast or someone who is already has VR. You cannot, it's just not, it's too soon to market to other people, get them in a headset, convince them of that. So someone who is already in VR and maybe is a music lover, that's our target market, I have to say.
Yeah, it's interesting how when you said when you were at the conference, not many people have heard of VR or let alone tried it, because I always thought DJs, and they probably
they were like, do I do this? Like they were like, you know,
oh
stuff
no,
like, they were like, how do I, you know, and for the listeners, I'm grabbing this in all sorts of weird ways.
Yeah, he's putting the Quest tracking ring through his arm.
They're like, how does this work? How do I do it?
I just thought, like,
I'm not kidding.
I know you're not kidding. That's the thing. So I'm laughing so much. But it's interesting because I always thought, I mean, I think it's still true that the majority of DJs are super tech nerds too. You know, that's just the nature of the business. That's the nature of unless if you're in electronic music, at least, right? You're super into the tech of music, and there's a lot of electronic instruments. So it was just interesting to me that not many of them heard about VR, you know, because of how techy the equipment is nowadays. And
they're
that's all
still
like
consumed in their own tech, you know.
Yeah. No, that's right, exactly right, Samson. Like they have their own very small thing, and they're used to it. It's their business, and they've had it for, you know, decades for some people. So they kind of just like inch along with the technology, and this is a very large jump to make if they were to do that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a fair point. All right, let's talk a little. Let's try and get the show back onto whatever we have.
That was a good like tangent.
It's a good tangent. We'll touch on the news.
Several tangents. Tangents upon inception. Tangent inception. There.
Oh yeah, that seems to happen when we have guests. But that's
there's level.
That's what our listeners love too. They love the tangents. They love the tangents. You know, they can just go on to Upload VR to find out the news.
Yeah, let's talk tangents.
Let's talk tangents. But speaking of non-tangents,
I buy that T-shirt.
Maybe that's our new name, because now Oculus is going.
Oh well, yeah, that's true. You got to rebrand now.
Well, I read that Oculus is still there for the gaming side, so they're still going to call like their Oculus Studios.
All right, I didn't know that actually, so that's news to me.
Yeah, so originally the press release came out that they were getting rid of the name.
That's what I thought.
But then Boz revised that press release like 2 hours later to say that for hardware it's gone. It's going to be Meta Quest, etc. But for the software same side of things, especially for gaming, it's still the Oculus brand is still going to be present. And it's interesting, they're still using that Oculus logo on some of their branding. You know, the Oculus logo is there, but it says Meta at the bottom, or Meta Quest. So, you know, I don't know if it's just part of the transition period, but for now we're in business.
Yeah,
just for now. But let's dive in. There's only a couple things on the news, but it'd be interesting, especially for you, Lee, as well, to get your thoughts on it. We spoke about San Andreas, and we don't know any release date or anything like that, but the actual CEO of Take-Two came out to talk about it, which I thought was kind of big, because I remember when Splinter Cell and Assassin's Creed got announced last year at the Connect, and no one spoke about it since, but the fact that Take-Two have spoken about it gives me a little bit more hope that it's actually going to come out. And what he was a small quote, but he says, and I quote, "Rockstar has already brought LA Noire to VR. NBA 2K has come to VR. NBA 2K was like just a mini game, like a 3-point shooter on PlayStation VR. And LA Noire was a few case files from the actual game into it." And then he just continues to say, "I'm sure we'll have more VR titles in the future as well." And that was it. That was his only quote, 2 sentences. But the fact that he comes out with it is giving me a little bit more confidence. Lee, are you kind of excited about this game? Like, did you play San Andreas back in the day?
I did not. I was like, I played some like Grand Theft Auto 2 back in the day, and also like Vice City. and I haven't really dipped in since then. I loved Vice City back in the day on the PS2.
I mean, it's
This is
similar
going
to
back a long way. So yeah,
yes.
I'd be interested to play it for sure.
It's a little
that's
it's
interesting.
a little different, you know.
I'm curious, people who haven't played that in 2D, how their experience is. So the first time playing it in VR, like, yeah, I haven't played Resident Evil 4 ever, and I haven't I haven't played it in VR yet. But I mean, eventually I will, and so it'll be interesting, like experiencing that for the first time in VR. Yeah,
Lee, that, oh my god, big fan.
Well, yeah, Resident Evil 4. It's one of these like sort of love-hate things. Like I had it for a couple platforms, including the Wii with the like the Wii nunchuck controls.
I'm surprised.
Like I'm like stabbing people with like the Wii nunchuck. Like you have to like do it. The only way you can do it is do that to use the knife. You have to like actually go to waggle it. So I played that back in the day, and I would just like hate that decision like every second that I was playing it, like just loving it and hating it at the same time, and just being so like nervous and anxious all the time, and then like still continuing to play for some reason. So I haven't tried it in VR, but I can only imagine it's that much more intense.
It
has to be.
I've never played Resident Evil 4. I'm a big fan of Resident Evil, but 4 I've just never played. I think I jumped into it on like an emulator as the GameCube version, and I just couldn't get into it because it is dated, right? It is something like Vice City and San Andreas, where you jump into those games now, it is hard to get into because of the controls have been so refined in just gaming in general. And when Resident Evil 2 and 3 both got like remastered / redone in PS4, and they play fantastically well. Resident Evil 2 is probably my favorite because of how well it plays on PS4. But yeah, I've been waiting. I've still got it on my Quest. I was going to dive into it yesterday, but I thought I'd dive into.
I would love to hear what you think about it. For sure. I mean, to me, it's there's a reason why people go back to it. It's just just an amazing game, and it's like the amount of tension and that goes on. Sort of like also you can definitely screw yourself with like ammo and kind of like, so it's this whole, I don't know how to describe it. It's just this intense experience, and in VR I can only imagine.
I know the folks in our Discord definitely seem to be loving it.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I heard Kai's played it, right? And
Kai, Kim, and I think Eric, maybe.
Oh, another Eric played it. Another one's played it as well. But yeah, they're raving reviews about it, and it's funny because when it came out, I just finished Resident Evil 8 on the PS5, and I never found it scary once. I didn't jump once, and I was like, maybe I'm just numb to horror now unless it's in VR. Like maybe that's it. I'm so like numb about it. I have to get the full immersion to actually get scared.
I did play Phasmophobia on Steam in VR and solo, and I was very scared.
Solo. You mad man.
Solo.
Yeah, I get the tribe team in there.
Yeah, no, I need to get some backup.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, another tangent from our San Andreas.
We're now into Phasmophobia somehow.
Yeah, somehow we
anyway,
got
go
there,
ahead.
Yeah. But yeah, that was San Andreas. Another news: Walkabout Mini Golf announced a tease for their new first course. They tweeted out saying, "Still to finally announce our series of Lost Cities themed Walkabout Mini Golf courses. Stay tuned as we unearth our first course very soon." And now me and Samson are kind of in a debate about what this means. To me, it means that they're just going to show off the first one, and they're probably going to release them in a pack of 3. But I don't know if they just release them in one. But this is going to be their first like paid courses. So Walkabout have done 8 now, right? That are free. I think there's 8 courses in the game right now, and they're going to come out with a bunch more. And this is going to be the first paid ones. And you know, Samson, you've seen the screenshot of the little trekker just going up the hill. Any idea? I mean, I'm looking at the screenshot as we speak, and it looks like we have some Greek ruins in the far left. We have some like sandpit stuff in the far right. I think we could be around the world. It could be fun. Atlantis might be one of the
I saw Gina and PJ are really pushing for the Atlantis underwater world.
They did say they want
we can only hope. Yeah, we can only hope. Yeah, I'm trying to not have any expectations and just like when it comes, I'm gonna freaking jump in. Like I can't wait. They give me anything. You haven't disappointed me once with any of the courses.
See, that's it. Walkabout's another game which is very similar to Tribe, and I'll tell you why. Because the skills translate really well. The other day, I went to this mini golf place, a mini golf bar, and I like destroyed my friend. I went twice and destroyed, and I was doing all these like trick shots off the walls, getting the angles right. And I was like, holy crap, this is Walkabout mini golf in a more like dumbed down level. And I'm crushing
just a lot more haptic feedback.
and a lot of intoxication as well with the alcohol, but I was killing it. Lee, have you played it at all?
I have not.
Oh, you should.
I'm just interested. Yeah.
You should. It's I would say it's one I would personally, for me, I would say it's a must recommend for a quest. It's just a relaxing game, and it's fun to play with friends as well. I mean, me and Samson, we dived into it yesterday with one of Samson's buddies, and that was good fun as well. So I would definitely recommend it to you, Lee. It's something that we talk about all a lot, you know, every single episode. This and Synth Riders is kind of the two that always get talked about.
Lee, do you have any we mentioned a few games you play, but do you have any time for VR to play, like outside of Tribe and work, and like what do you like to play these days?
I haven't as far as time, I haven't had much of that. Let's see, let me look at my Oculus thing of what I've played before. My recent play. Hold on one sec. But yeah, I definitely finally jumped into on PC VR Half-Life Alyx.
Sick. Yeah.
Finally, and just quite amazing. Yeah, I do have a PC gaming rig, so I can do that. But yeah, also No Man's Sky in VR, which it was interesting, but I had actually jumped out of VR and played a lot more in 2D just because it can be pretty uncomfortable, especially in flying around in ships. Yeah. But you know, so that was a little too much for me. But being immersed in the worlds that you sort of like, these generated worlds that you're in, is sort of this magical thing. So at the very least, it's amazing to jump into VR.
Half-Life Alyx is the pinnacle for me. Like when I had a PC rig, shall I say, I remember first turning on that game and you see the world in front of you with all the rooftops and the big random thing that's in the middle and all these like robots crawling around, and it's just, I'm like, oh my god, this is what VR is about. Like the Quest 2 is fun, but this is next level here. You know?
Yeah, the fact that you can interact with pretty much everything in the world is just wild.
Samson, and also their onboarding is very good. Actually, from a Tribe-ish perspective or a developer perspective, that's just something I noticed, is how VR games get you involved. So it would be a great game to give somebody who's never played VR before, because it will teach you, like, this is grab the thing, like use your trigger, and we'll do it in a way that's seamless and it is actually fun. And something that I can, dream of Tribe having a little, some better onboarding as far as that.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the biggest parts of VR, which I love when the developers do it right, is the game hubs. Like, for example, Forever Bowl's one of them, which is really nice. I guess Walkabout mini golf's a nice one. Synth Rider's a nice one, where it's not just some games just have like your typical menu system as you have in a Pancake 2D game, but then some of them take it next level. Like Forever Bowl is one of the best to do that, where you're actually you're in the bowling alley and you're going around to different menu pieces. You don't actually just have to select on a menu, which is nice. It works for most. It doesn't work for all, but that's definitely nice. Samson, have you played the Half-Life with your B haptics yet, or did you ever try it out?
No, I have not played with the B haptics. I haven't actually played it since I got my my new gaming PC. I've only played it using my Shadow PC.
Oh, you got to play it with your
several months ago.
Beefy 3080 monster that you have there now.
Wait, what is this haptics thing you're talking about? Just
Oh,
not
I have
familiar.
the B haptics vest.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
I guess is it similar to the Wooger?
I have no idea what
Wooger.
that is.
I believe so. I feel like I've heard of that one as well.
That is the only thing I've ever heard of that's like that. It's basically like sort of a rumble
Yep, that's
vest kind of
exactly.
thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
and
I have
I
the
heard somebody
vest.
that on VR chat, a DJ that actually uses it to help them DJ
Yeah.
because they can actually sense when things are
beat.
out. Like they
Yeah.
sense the beat and they can sort of beat match with it. So
Mhm.
that's the only way I know about it. But that's amazing that you have one of those.
Yeah, it's good for
pretty cool.
audio, right?
Yeah.
It's fun for audio, but yeah, they also do Lee. They also do haptics for your arms and for your face as well. So
That's
you
so
can
cool.
you
Now
can-
I'm gonna spend so much money now.
It
I was
is
gonna
expensive.
say you definitely
Thank you.
to
Thanks,
get all
man.
of them. It's pricey. I don't have the face one, but I do have the arms and
They're all in my cart right now.
yeah.
the whole lot's like $1,000. That one surprised me. Samsung's bought stuff on while on air just after just talking about it too.
Is you guys like get affiliate links or something? You're getting like kickbacks for this because I'm about to buy it.
Not with haptics,
I do not
but
know.
I know Alex VR on Twitter. If you reach out to him, he's the community manager for B Haptics, and one of our friends, Robin. When she wanted to buy a B haptic suit, she spoke to him first and he offered recommendations because there's two different ones, an X16 and X40. But yeah, they have a faceplate and like arms and for the hands as well, which is going to be perfect if you're playing a game like Thrill of the Fight. It's just that if you had the whole gear on, first it would probably be really hot, and second of all, it's going to cost you like $1,000 at least. But yeah, cool tech. Maybe hopefully one day it becomes a little bit more affordable or a little bit more necessary. Yeah. Well, speaking of what we just said there, where Samsung's bought games on the fly, one of them were Secret of the Retropolis. When I spoke about that, that's now come to the Oculus store. So it used to be just on App Lab, and now it's actually on the actual store itself, which is congrats to them. I don't really know why games release for like paid on the App Store. I don't know how it kind of works. I should invite another developer in there to see how that
I'm
works.
not sure.
Yeah, to see how that works, but that's great for them. Secret Retropolis, just a quick thing on that. We spoke about it a few podcasts ago when it did come out in App Lab, but probably one of my favorite games this year in terms of VR experiences. It's not really a game; it's more of a movie type interactive experience.
It's like a point and click type of game.
Yeah, a point and click type of game. It's in two parts. The first part's super short, but it's kind of teaching you the game. The second part's a little bit longer, but overall, it's probably around a 45-minute experience, I'd say, also.
Yeah, I got stuck a few times. Took me closer to an hour.
Yeah. If you get stuck, if you get good things about point and clicks, if you get stuck, you just click everything. You're like,
exactly.
Something's gonna work. Exactly. But I highly recommend. I think it's like $10 or around that. I can't remember now. It's been a while.
Here, hold on, let me look.
Yeah, have a look. But that's definitely one for anyone who wants just something more relaxing than just shooting or punching stuff in VR or sweating.
$12.99 USD.
Yeah, totally worth it. And then the last kind of news. Well, two more news pieces. One was update 34 came out, and that introduced voice commands. Android notifications are now in there. For iPhone, it was already in there. You can now see things entering the Guardian, which is nice. I've been doing a lot of supernatural workouts. Luckily, well, not luckily, I kind of wish I had a dog with me, but I don't have a dog with me. So if there was a dog that came into the scene,
you'd definitely be kicking your dog.
Yeah, exactly.
You kick my dog.
Exactly.
Also, web apps are now involved, so now you can get apps like Instagram, Slack, and etc. in there. And they've also adjusted the way standby works to improve battery life. I don't know what that means, but the amount of times I always switch my Quest off now because the amount of times I leave it on standby, and if I haven't played for a few days, it's pretty much dead.
Yep.
So hopefully that improves that because most things that go on standby, have a long battery life.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's update 34, and then the last piece of news is Blade and Sorcery was released. It's literally like they announced
Nomad.
it. Yeah, called Nomad. Blade and Sorcery. Have you played that, Lee, at all? PC VR?
No, I haven't.
Samson, what about
Great
you?
for getting rage out. Yeah, I played a little bit of the PC VR version.
Yeah.
And you definitely like question yourself. Like, I know one person's head I just shoved into a spike solid like 30 to 50 times and just look at him, throw him. It's just just like, why did I do that? I don't know at all. I didn't know I had that in me.
No, that you've sold me. That review, like, I'm downloading it right now. Hold on.
I think Lee spent about $1,000 in this whole. It's been an expensive podcast for you.
Yeah. Just keep it coming.
Yeah, I recommend.
Don't recommend an index to me because I can't afford that.
I haven't played the Oculus version, Blade and Sorcery No Mad. I probably won't get it because I have the PC VR version. But basically what I've heard and seen in reviews is like it's pretty decent. It's got some bugs. It like pushes the Quest 2 to the max. If you have the PC VR version, probably not worth getting. But if you only have the standalone Quest, pick it up. Know that you might be dealing with a few bugs here and there, but they'll probably patch it in due time. Mm-hmm. So if you want to wait on it, but from the gameplay videos, it looks pretty similar. Probably a graphical hit and a few like not as many enemies, that type of deal. But if you want to get some rage out, I'd say pick up some Blade and Sorcery. It's not a very deep game. It's pretty sandboxy. But I've enjoyed the PC VR version for sure.
Pretty well loved in the VR community, to be honest, for PC VR, because even I'm seeing people who have not got many subscribers on YouTube. They've put videos out that just says like Blade and Sorcery review, and they've been getting thousands of views. So a lot of people are interested in it, similar to something like Resident Evil, I guess. So yeah, that's Blade and Sorcery. I think it's $20 as well, so it's not expensive, but I thought it was going to be. But yeah, so that's basically the news. Let's talk about what we've been playing before we round off the show. Lee, I guess you've not been playing anything.
Not been playing anything. I just looked through my history, what I was playing before this kind of busy spell. I did play some Demio. You guys mess with that? Fans. Yes, yeah, really good. I played actually with my partner, like in the same room. Kind of like the commercials do, like the Facebook sort of Zuckerberg fantasy. It was like literally me and my wife like in the same room with two headsets on, and sort of doing this tabletop stuff. We love to do like cool D&D tabletop stuff anyway, so this was like right up our alley. The difficulty is incredible though. Like we really had trouble. So it's for some people that is a bonus. For me, it was a bit of a turnoff. Like it kept us from playing probably as much as we would have, because it's a lot of investment and a lot of like mistakes can be made that will like screw you in the next like round or two. And you've all of a sudden you sunk 2 hours into it and you're 2 levels deep and then it's over. Yeah. So then there's no sort of progression system per se.
We need to get you playing with PJ from the VR Verdict. He's a master of that game.
Yeah. Also, I think from what I can gather, it's difficult to play with like 1 or 2 people. Like the difficulty does not scale in that way, which I wish it did. Because it would recognize that you're playing with 2 people. So it is easier if you have like a bigger group. But still, no regrets because it's a fantastic game and experience. Being able to zoom into these tiny figures, move them around, and you have that feeling that you're actually moving these little figures around, like actually throwing dice and having cards. And so it's highly recommended for me as far as experience.
100%. A lot of people's game of the year, that came out this year. And it's
crossplay between Rift and Quest, which a lot of games are not.
Yeah, which is important because that Demio play session is going to kill your battery on that Quest, as I found out when I was playing. Like I got so close. I think we were on the last part, and the Rat was it the Rat? Yeah, it was the Rat King was there. But we like just found the Rat King, and that's when my battery was like ready to die. But I was remember watching it like throughout the different levels, the 3 levels, and I was like, okay, first level I'm 100%, second level I'm like 40, 60 to 40%. I was like, we're dying quick. But I love the visuals in that game. I know it's a tabletop game, but I love how super close you can get and how detailed the
It looks even better on the Rift too. If the Rift, it looks pretty good on the Quest, but the Rift one is exquisite.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, but it's a fan favorite over here. Yeah, we'll have to get you into a game with
Please.
PJ, because PJ
Please.
He was teaching us.
Yeah, he was dungeon
Please,
master.
PJ, if you're listening, PJ, please help me. Help me, PJ. You're my only hope.
Yeah, he definitely listens. Samson, how about you? You've been playing anything? I know you're also playing Halo. That's the biggest part.
Been playing Halo, been playing some Cyberpunk as well. VR wise, just I played some mini golf a few times this week with you and one of my good friends from Massachusetts.
Got beat a couple of times, didn't you? A couple of times got beat.
Yeah, by you. I beat him the other day. Oh, and I was playing with my brother too. Yeah. Nice. It was just good. Yeah, he hasn't played that new course yet, so it was fun to show him the Quixote course. And then I think that's about it for VR. And then I got into Tribe, did the tutorial, and I'm looking forward to. I'll bring that out on a few of my lunch breaks this week here.
Definitely. I think for me, I've still got Resident Evil 4 just there, and I still haven't pressed play yet. I'm just waiting for I need to get in the right mood, you know. Maybe tomorrow's the day. I don't know. We'll find out. Steal
yourself. That's all I'm saying. Get yourself ready.
I've still been playing a lot of the Supernatural for fitness. I've been getting into a routine where Monday and Wednesday, well, any days that I don't go out to the actual gym or do any physical stuff, because I work from home now, I'm always like at the desk, standing or sitting. But you know, it's good to just jump into a different world and do Supernatural. I still sweat quite a lot where the lenses get fogged, which is kind of one of the downsides to it. It's not really a Supernatural fault. The workouts are good. It's just the actual headset itself. But yeah, it's still really good. I've graduated from medium difficulty to hard difficulty, but 12 minutes knocks me out now. I'm in lots of pain, and I've just been in VR. That's all it is, you know. But yeah, I much more Supernatural. I absolutely love it, and right now I feel like I'm getting my money's worth with it as well. Especially how it can track your heart rate if you have an Apple Watch or any sort of smartwatch on. Really helps.
God, I've been so lazy this week. I got to get into that game.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
You're making me feel guilty now.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the beauty of VR, you don't need something like Supernatural, right? You can do something like Thrill of the Fight kicks your ass every time. Synth Riders and Beat Saber can kick your ass if you're on a harder difficulty as well. So, and obviously Pistol Whip. I haven't played Pistol Whip for ages, but that's one of my favorites.
Killer,
yeah, exactly. But the nice thing about Supernatural is that it's obviously more structured, and it's more about your form and making sure you progress and such. But yeah, massive fan. There's a massive market for fitness. But yeah, that's kind of what we've been playing. 2 games came out. Samson, have you got Discord up? I just sent you a message for one of them. But
the Blade and Sorcery.
Yeah. So what happens here on the show, Lee, if you've not seen it before, when we have games coming out this week, we normally read out the games. There's only 2, so I'll save you reading out it, Lee. But Samson, do you want to read out like the description of Blade and Sorcery?
Yeah, Blade and Sorcery No Mad. It came out last Thursday, 1999 USD. The era of the VR weightless wiggle sword combat is over. Blade and Sorcery No Mad is a medieval fantasy sandbox like no other, focusing on melee, ranged, and magic combat that fully utilizes a unique and realistic physics-driven interaction and combat system. Built exclusively for VR, collisions are dictated by fine hitboxes, objects have weight and follow the laws of physics, creatures have full body physics and presence. and blades can be used to penetrate soft materials or deflect magic. In Blade and Sorcery Nomad, the combat is limited only by your own creativity. Choose your weapon, choose your stance, choose your fighting style, be the powerful warrior, ranger, or sorcerer you always dreamed of becoming. That is another fun thing in that, actually, is to use like the gravity physics. Like you feel like Darth Vader, just like picking people up, picking up a sword,
cool.
and like stabbing them with the sword when you're not really touching anything.
I've seen Julian from Techman do a TikTok on that where he like decapitates someone and lifts the head up. Like I don't know why I found
just
that
bought
entertaining.
it. I just bought it.
Let's go.
It's done.
Love it.
It's done.
Love it.
I bought it.
So,
yeah, that's we invite guests to market VR. That's what we do. The other game that's coming out is, well, that's Blade and Sorcery's out, but Resist is another one. Resist comes out on November 11th, for a few days away. A dystopian future and authoritarian regime. I butchered that. A tale of violence, intrigue, and hope. Swing from towering skyscrapers and battle deadly enemies as you fight to free your city from the evil that consumes it. Will you bow to the forces of oppression, or will you have the strength to resist? Resist is a single-player action RPG designed exclusively for Quest, with a kinetic swinging system, intense combat, and fully immersive story. Resist is the VR experience you've been waiting for. So this is an open-world RPG game where you literally have a grapple gun, and you can swing from building to building, Spider-Man type style. I'm really intrigued to see how the motion sickness, how they've combated that, because I feel like there'll be a lot in this game. But yeah, it's meant to be a big campaign. There's side quests involved. It's a full-on RPG, like not just with elements, like it's a full-on RPG game. Just judging by the poster and such and the description, it seems good, but I'm gonna wait on just to see what the reviews are for this one. But even on the comfort settings, it says it's on moderate. I feel like this will be not for the VR newbies, judging on it, but we'll see. I wonder if Lee's about to buy that. You can't buy that, Lee. It's on coming soon.
I tried to, yeah, I can't.
Yeah. You can add it to your wish list. But that's Resist, and that's the only two coming out this week. Still no news on Medal of Honor. I mean, Samson, you still got the prediction where Veterans Day on the 11th. That is Medal of Honor comes out on that day.
Listen, it's still open.
Hey, Blade and Sorcery just came out randomly, so it could be. It could be. And that's everything really. Lee, anything else to sign off as?
Yeah, I guess I would just say, yeah, if you're interested in Tribe, come by the Discord, discord.gg/TribeXR. We're always there in multiple channels there. And if you do grab Tribe, please join up on the workshops. We do them multiple times a day. There's actually on the website is a calendar for them that will move to your specific time zone, because we all know that time zones are a nightmare. But so there's multiple per day, and so that's kind of good way, especially if you just need to, you've gone through the initial lessons with Hapa and you need just whatever the next steps are. It's very, very normal. So please take advantage of those. We'll love to see you there.
Definitely. I mean, I also want to give a shout out to the website of Tribe as well, because there's lots of resources on there. Lots of on-demand workshops as well. So definitely check that out. There's that's the great thing about Tribe as well. I love is that the amount of support, like Samson said at the beginning, it's very intimidating when you see these decks for the first time and all these knobs and you're like, what the hell am I doing? But it's the resources there's so much.
Yeah, and the community is great. That's why I love being the community manager of Tribe, because it's easy in a sense, because the community is great. Yeah. Like it's very positive. Everybody's very helpful. So if you come to the Discord, that's the best way to connect with us. And if you have any questions or need any help, like I'm there, but there's like other people there, all the time that are like, I need help. If you say I need help, like they're there for you. Yeah. So please take advantage of that.
Definitely. And Lee, honestly, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been
thank you. Thank you. It's been great to talk about Tribe, and also like
tangents,
as you can tell, all the tangents that we had. As you can tell, I'm the VR enthusiast as well, so I'm interested in everything that way. So thank you so much for having me on. It's been super fun.
We're very excited for what you're going to come out with, especially into the music production side. And I'm sorry if you get into trouble talking about the synthesizers, the Tribe synthesizers, but
also
okay. Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks so very much. I'll have all the links to everything that Lee just said, including where to find him, in the description below. And as always, you'll find mine and Samson's, but you don't need to know about us. It's all about Lee today. But before we leave, Samson, anything that you want to sign off with before we leave? You're going to play a little bit more VR next week?
Yeah, hopefully so. Oh, God, you're making me feel lazy though. Like, I mean, my new job, I work second shift, so I'm like 1 to 9:30. I get home, it's like 10. So I don't really want to. Not really in the mood to VR when I get home, but I've been sleeping in since I ended up staying up late. And yeah, God, I got to just get up earlier and get friggin' Supernatural subscription.
Samson, I'm expecting you to be DJing in the backseat of your car, like you said. Don't just say
Samson.
100%.
Let me know, man. I'll jump on with you in your car. We'll have a little car session.
I guess I could hotspot it, but yeah, I'm a courier, so like I have like this like hour sometimes between a stops where I have to wait to go into the office, and so I usually just like eat lunch and like chill on my phone. But I've been thinking about bringing my Quest in the car and just playing some seated games. Yeah,
try it out. That'd be great.
Definitely. But yeah, thanks all for you watching on the videos and listening on the audios as well. We'll see you next week. We've got a few guests lined up for the next few weeks, so definitely exciting to hit subscribe. And next week's gonna be episode 25, which is quite monumental. 25 weeks, Samson.
You can also, that's incredible. You can also find Lee in our Discord if you so chose.
Yeah, Lee's there. Our Discord's growing ever so quicker now. It's getting more and more people in there. So definitely join the Discord. But after that, thanks a lot for listening again, and we'll catch you in next week's episode.